Good night, everybody. Hey, Holly. Hey, Evelyn. Good night, darling. Hey, Mr. Christian. So, I'm doing a little advertising tonight here for Gadget Hub, which is in Retreat, Canawan. So, go to Gadget Hub to get all your phones and whatever communication needs you might have. Gadget Hub in Retreat, Canawan is the place to go. Just call Laverne and you can make your arrangements. Um, so they have all sorts of phones. They have dual SIM phones, and of course, everything is brand new. There is no second-hand device at Gadget Hub. So go if you're in Canawan, get down to Retreat and get your phones. Now, Laverne at some point needs to come and give me her number. Laverne, send the number. Now, people, we have a few things to talk about tonight. Now, yes, tonight is going to be another night of me squinting because I went to a place in Kingston. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Juanita. I went to Courts to get my eyes tested, right? Because I need to order new glasses because I broke my old ones. Not just breaking them, but it's been 2 years, so they need to be replaced. So I went to Courts to get my eyes tested so I could get the prescription so I could order my glasses from Zenny. Only to find out that Courts headquarters, wherever they are, banned the people here from giving out the prescription. So if any of you order online and you get hair soda and you get your prescription, let me know where you want to pay for prescription so I could go and get my prescription and get my glasses ordered. Because you see what people don't understand. Well, I shouldn't say what they don't understand. They do understand this. Glasses are expensive. You have to pay 1100 plus for free for for lens because I'm using progressive lens. So it's over $1,100, I think, is for the progressive lens. Plus now the cheapest frame you might get is about $300. That is plenty money. That is plenty money. When I order my glasses from Zenny, look this here. 3D clip-ons. I have this, which is for driving at night because of my astigmatism. So these help at night, 3D, and the shades clip on somewhere in the kitchen. Now, those 3 clip-ons, plus, I don't know, add here for Zenny too, right? Plus the glasses itself, frame and lens, and shipping by eZone, which was about, I think, was it $30, and customs. Let me see. I honestly don't think I came. Let me see. I don't want to lie. I know everything came out about 110 or so US. And then checking eZone and okay, I can't remember what eZone and the other thing is. But anyways, the purchase came up to about now here, everyone's saying she paid 1,500. The online cost was about 110 US for them 3 things, them 3 clip-ons plus the glasses itself with the progressive lens, and the progressive lens had on the blue light protection shield and some other shield, and all of this came to about $110 US. Okay, about 110 US. So when you buy in progressive glasses here at Evlante for 1,500, and you could order online and get them for a little over 200 EC dollars. Come on, man. Things hard. Things hard. So if you all have any shop where I can go to get my prescription done, hey Lavon, hey Gwev, and save myself someone that I don't have, please let me know, because I need to get my glasses. I need to get my glasses. I'm walking around and all I'm seeing are just blurs until somebody comes right up to me. Oh, like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I see you. I see you. No, it ain't that bad, but still. But I have not had any issues with customs or Lavon. When I brought in my glasses, I could honestly say I have had no issues with customs, none. Because I don't think the rate is that high. And the thing too, plenty of these shops here right now are selling the same $6 and $10 and $15 frames that are sold on Zenny and other sites. And they're selling them for hundreds of change. Hey Dolores, who is Dr. Grant now? You must send me this Dr. Grant contact information. Inbox Smith, so I could call them, because quotes them not do that no more. So quotes out here thinking that people here on it, quotes out here thinking that people have money to just fork out just like that. 1,500 plus for glasses, no man. And then the thing is, if they sell you the prescription, then at least they still get $100 off for you, because it's $100 I had paid for the prescription. They get $100 off for you instead of getting no business off for you, because Coates will not be getting any business from me. I am not. Coates is not going to bully me into spending 1,500 or whatever it is on glasses. They're not gonna do that. Hey Alan, they are not going to be bullying me into purchasing their glasses. I will sit and I would wait. And it's like how I'm not teaching right now, then I don't have a lot of reading to do. Therefore, not that I don't need the glasses, I need glasses, but not that urgently. Upstairs, the lab in Paul's Avenue, which, oh, you mean the where Treasure used to be? Well, that is the whole thing, Lavon. It is our prescription. You go there, you ask for your prescription. It's bad enough that you have to actually pay for the prescription. It's like going to a doctor and you pay a consultation fee, and then when it's time to give you your prescription now to get treated, he says to you, well, hey, if you want this to take to the pharmacy to get the medicine, you need to pay me an extra $100. And nobody in we call it consumer affairs, or whatever the thing name, seems to find this strange or unethical. If I pay you, I'm coming to you to get my eyes tested. Why then do I have to pay you to get my prescription? If my eyes are being tested, then I supposed to get my prescription. And I'm not supposed to pay you extra to get my prescription either. But what we do if nobody finds these things to be out of whack? Okay. Thank you, Evlon. I should be in town tomorrow, so I'll go there and see who this person is and make an appointment. We all can't afford to buy glasses here. We can't. $1,500 is a lot of money to spend on glasses, plenty. And all you're getting at that is a basic frame and your lens. And I just showed you 2 clip-ons that I got with my online glasses, plus the one in the kitchen, plus the protective lens, and they only came out about $110 US. Lisa, beyond highway robbery, beyond highway robbery. Like, how could you go? It just doesn't make any sense. You go to get your eyes tested, and they're not going to give you your prescription. You have to pay them to get your prescription. And, well, according to courts, they no longer do this. But like I said, the people in trade, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Finance, Trade, whatever it is called, Consumer Affairs, I don't know what they're called. Bureau of Standards, I don't know, something. They are allowing them to get away with these things. They are allowing them to get away with these things. And like I said, it makes no sense, because if you go to a doctor, you get your prescription, they tell you what is wrong with you, and they give you your prescription to go and full to get well. If I'm coming to you, how do I know that you really tested my eye if I have nothing to say, well, okay, this is what they came up with? So I'm leaving your office having been tested, and I have nothing there to show except from a receipt, perhaps, that you've actually done your work. Anyways, let me see what's going on here. Kenton is supposed to, not Kenton, Kenson is supposed to join me here sometime tonight. He is. It's more than a hostage situation, but that is how it is here, because nobody seems to find any problem with it. And so the madness continues. The madness continues. All right, so I think I would have to, hey Don, I need your help to share the live, because as you know, there's some persons who are very hard of hearing. I would say it over and over again, I am not doing the live on my page. You see people in my inbox asking me if I coming on tonight. I'm coming on. I am on. I am on. I am here. I am here. You wouldn't see me here if you're not following the instructions, people. Oh dear Lord. Intentions, they ain't easy for going to. They mean easy for going on Talboy more. So I beg you no please. I beg you please for share the live. Thank you, Don. Thank you so much, because I don't get it at all. So share the live, people. Share the live, share the live, share the live. As soon as you've shared the live, just comment share, and we'll begin tonight's session in a few. I have some hard of hearing children on top of here. The first thing you do when you log on, you're supposed to just hit that share button. Boom, share. If you don't hit that share, you see, if Nyla was here, I don't have to tell Nyla, no. Nyla just come on the live, and Nyla will just start tagging people, and Nyla will just start sharing the live, and you know, well, okay, yes, Adriana on. I don't have to ask Nyla twice. Thank you, Phyllis. So share the live, people. Get in here, get in here, get in here. We have a few things to discuss. And after about, what, 3 or 4 weeks, as a matter of fact, not 3 or 4 weeks, since in December, we've had an issue with cream cheese. I have not been doing any baking because I couldn't get the cream cheese. I bought a cream cheese in December and I tried it with my cinnamon rolls and it tasted awful. It was very salty. So when you mix it with the sweet, it wasn't a good balance at all. So I decided, you know what? Let me know. Thank you for sharing. Let me not mess up myself and continue with that cream cheese because it really did not taste good. So I've been looking for cream cheese ever since. Um, I went down to Pembroke, Randy's, Massey, look, all over the place looking for cream cheese. No cream cheese. Corey's brought in some, I guess it's last week, so I got some cream cheese. So I'll be baking this week. No, tomorrow is protest. I'll be protesting tomorrow, so I will not be baking tomorrow. So I do believe my next batch will be on Monday. So if you need your almond, coconut, rum and raisin, cranberry, or chocolate cinnamon buns, you let me know. I have the best buns in town. Nax girl, not even Kenson had cream cheese. Not even Kenson. Don, if I could sing, no, I don't. Well, everybody could sing, you know. Everybody could sing, but might not be pleasing to the ear. But everybody could sing. So yes, I could sing too. Just that nobody would be paying me to sing though. Okay. So share the live, people. Share the live, share the live, share the live. That's our hope that one of these days we'll be able to open a little business because you see what this government here right now and the way they're trying to make our lives hell. Yeah. What we need to do at this point is to get some good investment and get a little small bakery up and running. And Kenton and I will be doing our thing. We will be doing our thing. We already have a location. All we need to do is to finish up some little touches, you know, put in whatever plumbing and them sort of thing. I'm very serious. So we need to get the plumbing and so forth. We need to get the building itself in shape and then start to get some equipment. And once we get that done, look, we got to go. We got to go. Tomorrow. Hey, Anne Marie. There's no parliament tomorrow. But you see behind me here? See that t-shirt there? See what it says? It says justice for CJ. Justice for CJ. And the other one says what? Justice for all. So I collected my Justice for CJ t-shirt today. Thanks to my good friend Tassie. And I'll be wearing that tomorrow. That's the back of the t-shirt. On the front, it has his photo. But that's the back of the t-shirt. It says Justice for CJ. Now, I'm protesting tomorrow. And I want to say a couple of things here tonight. First of all, Adriana King is protesting tomorrow. I wish Kenson had come was signing already, but let me send something here for him and hopefully he logs in next 5 or so minutes. I wanted him to be on when I'm talking about this, but so be it. For those of you who have been listening, good. So Nats are coming to this now. This is exactly what I'm coming for now. I was just about to say, for those of you who have been listening, you will know who CJ is. And those of you who have not been on for a while, let me tell you who CJ is. CJ was a student of mine at Bishop's College, Kingstown. Um, and I taught them art, right? Yeah, I taught art. I taught English A, English B, and when they wanted somebody to do some, you know, extra classes, art and so forth, I volunteered to take on the art classes. So I taught art. Now, CJ was a riot. He loved to laugh. I have some photos here with him that I showed his cousin a few weeks ago. I can't put it up here now because it's a class photo and I don't have permission from everybody to share their photo. But right to the back of it, you just see this big grin. And that is CJ right there. That is CJ. CJ one time was in my class and I don't know if it was after break or what it was. But them children who trying to eat food, but they ain't too good at it. And I always laugh at the whole thing. I tell my students, I say, look, you could eat in my class, just don't let me catch you. I tell them that all the time, that you could eat in the class. Just don't let me catch you eating in the class. So if you could eat and get away with it, then good for you. But if you're eating in my class and I catch you eating in my class, me and you go have it out. Um, Unless you do, I don't really do anything about that. If a child is eating in class, I would just ask them, why you eating in my class? If they want to be excused to eat, they eat. But I don't really dig hard with the eating in class thing. When I was a younger teacher, yeah, because you now come out of secondary school, and I can't say no come out, but you know what I mean. You were in secondary school where you would get sent to detention and all them kind of things for eating in class. So when I just started teaching, that was something that I used to do. I would be hard on you if you were eating in my class. But as you mature as a teacher and you realize how things are, how circumstances are sometimes, you have to adjust. You have to adjust. And a child eating in a class does not make the child disruptive or it's not disrespecting you as a teacher. It's hunger. If somebody's hungry, then let them eat. And if you don't let that child eat, that child is going to be focused on their hunger. And so they will not be taking in your lesson anyways. So you're wasting your time trying to force a child to not eat in a class, thinking that that is going to make them focus on what you're doing. It's not going to make them focus. So anyways, this CJ is there. And the bend down underneath the desk kind of motion. When a child is eating in class, And CJ was there eating in the class. And I'm watching him, So I say, CJ, hey Charlene. I said, CJ, what are you eating? He said, Mrs. Some chicken. Look, I nearly throw it. I said, CJ, people that Steve chants with popcorn and with a piece of bakes or whatever. I said, CJ, how you expect to sit down in this class, hey? And Steve chants eat a whole piece of chicken. Look, I roll with that. They would sit there on this piece of chicken. Who does Steve chance eat chicken? Number one, the chicken will smell up the whole class. The chicken going to be on the fingers. The chicken going to be on the mouth. People don't teach chance for eat chicken, only see chicken. But what I liked about him most is that he was really keen on the art. And so he would draw little things and bring them and say, oh, Miss, I draw this, And he was really good. He had a knack for detail. And I tried to get them set up with another teacher so that they could take it up to Form 5 because I am not trained to teach art. I was only teaching art because I have a love for art, so that's my thing. But children like CJ had potential, and I really wanted them to be able to explore that. But unfortunately, I was met with some what is the word I'm looking for here now? Can't say come with the word right now. Resistance to the whole idea, and so that didn't materialize. So that's who CJ is. CJ is my past student, a very affectionate young man. And if you listened to his funeral service, you would hear people use words like respectful, kind, caring. One woman even said, he was a role model to her grandson. I see my friends on Facebook posting about him. You would see Nicole Brown posting about him. I see Sian Dawes posting about him. And it's always something good, always something to see that he was helping somebody or doing something for somebody. My friend Tassie would say that, he would go and visit the I think it would be his great grandmother once he's in Richland Park, Mespo area, and just checking on her to see how she's doing. And that is the sort of young man that CJ was. And that's how he's been remembered. Now, fortunately, not CJ was killed by some police officers here from the Kittels police station. They ran him over. Took him to the hospital, and basically seemed to have been praying for his demise, because there's no other way to explain the way they treated him, as in the way they physically treated him, the way they lifted him and, got him transported to the hospital and just left him there and went about. And then to show up afterwards to ask, if he's dead. Not how he's doing. No, he dead. That was their That was all they were concerned about. Because had he died, because they really thought that he was dead when they took him in the first place. And I guess their thing was, once he's out of the picture, his story will be forgotten. But guess what? You see this great universe that we live in? Things happen. It could make things happen. And so CJ had enough strength, enough life, enough courage, enough, you know, consciousness to tell his mom what happened to him in great, vivid detail. He said exactly what happened to him. Hey, Hope. And so their wish for him to die without saying what took place got burst. Because before he died, like I said, he gave the full story of what occurred. So tomorrow, I will be on the protest line because I'll be standing up for my past student. I stand up for a lot of things in this country, and my conscience would not sit well if I don't, you know, put my voice in this. Now, I'll be there tomorrow from about 11 o'clock. And before I tell you more about that, I want to play a song for you. I played a song for you last time from CJ's cousin. And this song now is a different song. This one is a sort of calypso. And why am I hearing all these songs? Hold on. There's something playing here on this wait, wait. That's the thing with technology. No, what was that was playing there? I have no idea. I have no idea what was playing there because I closed everything. Mm-mm-mm. Let me see if I find it.
We gonna get justice for CJ.
Let's start it over.
Are we gonna get justice for CJ? Or are we gonna let it slip away? Are we gonna just sit?
Hold on. Where the thing go now? Hold on, I'm coming back. Okay.
Are we gonna get justice for CJ? Or are we gonna let it slip away? Are we gonna just sit down and cry and watch justice pass us by? Are we gonna find out the real truth? What caused the death of this innocent youth? Tell me when I say, give us justice today for CJ. Justice for CJ. Justice for CJ. No time now for delay. Give us justice today for CJ. Why you want to treat him so brutal? Was he a wanted criminal? Chase him down like a murderer. On his bike you ran him over. Threw him in a... Is this how you treat poor people? Well, I say no way. Give us justice today for CJ. Justice for CJ. Justice for CJ. No time now for delay. Give us today justice for CJ. His condition's critical. You left him at the hospital like a dog left there to die. But to his mom he testified. I believe his confession. Now his blood is on your hand. You will have to pay. We must get justice today for CJ. Justice for CJ. Justice for CJ. No time now for delay. Give us today justice for CJ.
There you've heard it. Give us justice for CJ. So tomorrow, I'm going down to the financial complex and I will be staging my protest. I will be standing there with my placard. And you know me, even if I'm standing there alone, I'll be standing. And I'm beginning to like standing alone. Let me explain to you why. Right now, the lying Commissioner of Police, Colin John, and the lying Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, they're on a mission to stifle protest action in this country. And the sad thing about it is that some of you make it easy for them. Now, I know there are persons who would say, oh, protest doesn't get things happen or, make things happen. But let me say this much. And I've said it to a few persons before. Protest has its place in any democracy. If people are not allowed to express themselves through protest action, then you're going to find yourself shooting down a hole straight into communism faster than you could even imagine. Now, if protest wasn't an issue, or if protest wasn't effective, you wouldn't see Lion Colin John and Lion Ralph Gonsalves behave the way that they behave when people on the streets protesting. You wouldn't see all those police officers coming out and trying to quell the protest, because this is what happens. When people start protesting, they start hearing their own voice and they become empowered by that. They become empowered too when other people stand with them on the protest line. And once you see people start gaining strength like that, and they start gaining strength in numbers, you see even bigger changes in your society. And that is what has Ralph and Colin scared. Now, why I say I would rather, or not rather, but I don't mind standing alone, because part of what Colin is doing is that he is asking people to write him a letter to say that they're going to protest. And he's making it seem as though this letter should be written for permission. Now, our laws don't dictate any such letter to be written. None. Colin is quoting from the Public Order Act. Now, this Public Order Act is an archaic piece of law that came before Constitution. And as any citizen should know, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. You can't have a law that contradicts your Constitution. And whatever comes before your Constitution really and truly gets thrown out, because your Constitution is the way forward for your nation. It is the way forward for your state. It is the way forward for your democracy, whatever it is that you have, democracy or not. The Constitution is the way forward. So you can't slide by the Constitution and go now to some old piece of law. Now, here's the other thing that makes that old piece of law irrelevant. In that same Public Order Act, it says too that people, and I'm going to break it down. It's not the exact words that are in there, but I'm going to break it down easy tonight. It says that you cannot wear party t-shirts in public places. That same Public Order Act that Colin is quoting says that we as Vincentians cannot wear party t-shirts. So explain to me, how is it that Colin wants to enforce the part that says you have to write to notify, but he's not enforcing the part that says people aren't supposed to be in Kingston or anywhere in St. Vincent in party t-shirts, whether it's a ULP t-shirt, an NDP t-shirt, a Green Party t-shirt, or whatever. You can't take part of a law and leave part. Laws don't work like that. So if it is that he wants to enforce this act, then he needs to get it in line with the Constitution. But he cannot enforce this act. Hey, Preston. He cannot enforce this act as is. Because, like I said, there are other pieces of the act that if he were to try to enforce now, you would see how stupid he is. This piece that he's pushing, he's still stupid for doing it or for trying to do it. And that's why I couldn't understand why a lawyer could be on a program to say, that we have to go back to an act that predates the Constitution for clarity on the Constitution. I was like, where did this girl go to law school? Where? And what should have really and truly, pinch her is when Colin was there agreeing with the things that she was saying. Because if you sit down somewhere and Colin agreeing with you, know you're stupid. Know that you are stupid. Anyhow, you sit down anyway having a conversation and Colin say, "Oh, I agree with you." Shut up. Shut up and start over. Because if Colin is agreeing with you, it means that you're saying something dumb. Plain and simple. So, for my part, single action protest, single person protest at this point is strong. Because this whole nonsense where he's talking about writing, this is my fear. And this is what they want. Now, let's say, excuse me a minute, eh? Excuse me 1 minute. Okay, now let's say that John Doe has an issue with random company Flo, and John Doe wants to have a protest. Colin and Ralph seem to think that when they come out and beat down on protesters, fine protesters, arrest protesters, and all that drama, and ask for a letter, that John Doe would be scared to protest. Because let's say John Doe is the kind of person who is not too literate. So he cannot sit down and pen a letter to the commissioner to say that he's going to be protesting. So right then and there, John Doe feels as though he can't protest because he doesn't have the permission. And that's why Colin keeps stressing on this thing about permission. Yes, that's what he says. That's the words he says, permission. I like to mock him. Yes. Now, John Doe, thinking he needs permission, and he can't write asking for it because he's not literate, he stays at home. He doesn't speak up. He doesn't go into Kingston and mount his one-man protest. And so now, eventually, you're going to find that more and more people are going to not protest because they don't know how to pen this letter to the commissioner. And that is the state where Colin, John, and Ralph, with their lion selves, want to get St. Vincent and Grenadines. And so if I have to go into and protest by myself, I would do so. Because people need to remember in this country here that we don't need permission to protest. We don't. We do not need permission to protest. Not from Colin and not from Ralph. Not from anybody in this country here. You have an issue, something is burning your chest at night, you're feeling this gas, and you want to go on the protest line, go on the protest line. You don't need Colin's permission to do that. You don't. You do not. So, me, I stand up for me. I stand up for what I believe in. And if I have to stand up by myself, then so be it. Let me remind people. Let me standing by myself be reminded to people that they could do that too. They could do that too. And I would say to people all the time, look, I'm not Rise Haruna. I am not the New Democratic Party. I am Adriana King. So when I stand in protest, I am standing in protest as Adriana King. You know, it's like Kenson, same thing. Kenson protests for himself, for his principles, and I don't protest with Kenson. So I don't protest with Kenson. And for your information, Kenson don't protest with me. So when you see us doing our thing, don't be confused. We just being we. Hey, I'm going to tape that tomorrow. Yes, please. I don't protest for Kenton. Kenton don't protest for me. And we don't protest on behalf of any organization. And you, if you feel a need to stand up for something, you stand up for it. And if it makes you feel better knowing that I am going to be there tomorrow and you have somebody to stand next to, well, stand next to me. If that makes you feel better. But don't ever, ever be afraid of standing up for your rights in this country. Don't. And don't ever think that you need the permission of Colin John or Ralph Gonsalves to protest. Don't think that because you can't write a letter, you can't protest. Because, like I said to you, that Public Order Act as it is cannot be enforced in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Number one, it predates our Constitution. And number two, it contradicts our Constitution. And number three, there are elements in there that go against our basic rights as citizens. And that's why I keep asking the question, when is Colin going to enforce the part that says we cannot wear party t-shirts? Because that is also in the Public Order Act. When is he going to start enforcing that? When is he going to come out and say to ULP supporters that they can't walk around in ULP t-shirts? When? I don't see that happening. I don't. Now, another thing I want to talk about it tonight, firing of teachers. Now, last year, a number of quality teachers like me, like Adriana King, were fired from the teaching service. And yeah, I could call myself, I could call my name, because guess what? I have a record to back it up. And despite the attempt of people like Hans King and Federa, I'll call him tonight, and Vinci Poe and these other idiots who are on here from time to time trying to drag my name to say, oh, I don't teach, and how I think my child more important than this. Damn right. Damn right. First priority is my child, not no work, and not nobody else's child. First priority. So if I sit down here doing an online class and my child is in an online class and she's having issue, bet your bottom dollar my online class going on pause and I'm going to deal with my child. And look, it ain't no ifs, no buts, no maybes about that. Because what I kept saying is this building here is between me and the bank. The light bill, me paying it. All the time when we were online, government did not assist us to get our classes done. All they gave us was a little tablet. And they gave us a tablet. And the tablet didn't even have a keypad. They said the keypad was for the students. So teachers were supposed to use a tablet to do up lesson plans, research, have online classes and all that drama. A tablet, you know, a tablet. The next I said, let me go get some Chromebooks for teachers. No, a tablet. So I said very early up, this building here between me and the bank. Light bill, me and Vinlick. Everything else, me and whoever, me. So I was explaining that at the end of the day, teachers were paying the operational cost of a school from their homes. And those idiots took that to say, oh, I'm not logging in to teach, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing all sorts of things. And I never addressed it. This is the first time I'm going into details about this now, because it is totally ridiculous. Now looking at everything that is happening with teachers is totally ridiculous. But teachers showed up. without assistance from the government. The teachers who are fired now, the teachers who are on the breadline now, are teachers who showed up to classes, are the teachers who paid the operational cost of the government school. Because while we were at home, not even internet assistance was given to teachers, not even that. They didn't say, well, okay, here's a $20 voucher, a $30 voucher. Take it to Digicel or take it to Flow, so it could ease you up on your internet. Not even that. Those little witches, because I don't want to use any other word. Not even that. Those old heathens and the Ministry of Education could have given to teachers. Not even that. Not even that. And talk about training. Half the teachers in this country still have not been trained for online classes. Have not been trained. So they had teachers out here, what we bend over backwards to please. And then they wanted now to drag my name to say, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing. And I allowed them because it was fun for me to watch the idiots. It was fun to me to watch the idiots and to see the stupid comments that they were making. You know, when I got upset with the whole madness, I got upset when some little fool at the Ministry of Education decided to tamper with my children's CSEC results and the information that was sent up to CSEC. That is when I became upset. Because when you do that sort of thing to children, how you want with me? It's long-time Ministry of Education victimizing me and other teachers out here. A long time. But keep your fight with me. Keep your fight with me. Don't mess with my children. And then is when I got really upset. When whomever messed with the grades that were submitted and sent trash to CSEC. And then we had to go through a whole thing to get that fixed. And yeah, it came out 100% passes. I think it was only, 3 grade 2s? Everybody else got grade 1s. So yeah, I could sit here and say that I'm a damn good English teacher because I bring the results. And there are teachers at home right now who are darn good French teachers, math teachers, art teachers, food and nutrition teachers, because they bring results. But they're home. They're home. We're home because we stood up on principle. We stood up on principle. And the Ministry of Education, that is supposed to care about the school system here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, did what? Nothing. Nothing but victimize teachers and sent us home. Nothing more than that. Thank you, Dolores. Thank you. Work speaks for itself and it spoke loud. It spoke loud. Some good hard slaps he got in the faces with that the dotage self. And you know, Searchlight newspaper with my friend has called it Dirty Saltfish paper. They came out with an article to say that SVGS to received whatever grades, basically to say they got horrible grades in English A and other subjects because of course now it's to put the attention on me. Well, Steve, that they want attention on and was my students. So they didn't say questionable grades in a few CSEC subjects because it was about 4 or 5 subjects too that had to be thing. No, questionable grades in English and other subjects. But when the results came back now and everything was adjusted, you ain't hear people out of Searchlight. You ain't hear one thing from Searchlight to say, oh, SVGS, first time in its history, 100% passes in English A. And I hate them bring that one. Searchlight couldn't bring that one. They could only bring the SVG, whatever, questionable grades. So yeah, I will sit down here and toot my horn for a bit tonight. And I will toot the horns of the other teachers who are at home, who should be in their classrooms teaching. Because guess what? Just this morning, well, I got it last night, but I posted it this morning. Here comes the Ministry of Education to send out a request for teachers to come to teach, to apply for teaching positions. Hmm? Teachers to apply for teaching positions. This is March. This is March. The Ministry of Education knew fully well that they could not replace all teachers. They knew it. And they sat down with their dishonesty and allowed Ralph to go on and on and on about how he is going to replace teachers. They knew it was impossible. They knew. Let me show you this. But no, Patricia, they never came back and gave the results. They never came back. After they put up thing to put main question, they never corrected the results for grammar school. They never did. That Searchlight newspaper. They never made the correction. And I just sat down and I just laugh about it because it just shows how disgusting they are. It just shows how disgusting and dishonest they are. That's it. That's it. Nothing more. Let me close that. Let me see if I find the list. I'm looking for the list. I have it, you know. I have the list. I have the list. Let me see. Okay. Here we are. Now, let me try to bring it up a little. So here are the vacancies in secondary school. Let me help them advertise their vacancies, but I'm doing it for a very specific reason. Now, here it goes. Adelphi Secondary School needs principals of accounts and principals of business teachers from 3 to 5. St. Clair Dakin, POA and POB 4 to 5. West St. George Visual Arts 4 to 5. Bishop's College Kingston English 4 to 5. Pittibodell Secondary, Food and Nutrition and Home Management 3 to 5. Union Island Secondary, History Social Studies 4 to 5. George Stevens Senior Secondary School, Spanish 3 to 5. Canaan Secondary School, Math, Physical Education, Biology 1 to 4, 1 to 4, and 3 to 4. Now the thing is it, here Joker, I posted that this morning and I posted it with a particular caption. Let me share the caption with you. Here's the caption over here. Oh Lord. Okay. So I said basically, see the schools on the list, the majority are poor people children. Remember when Ralph and the Ministry of Education said that they have replacements lined up and parents and students remain quiet? They said they love children. Now tell me why they put Form 5 students, especially in experienced teachers like me who bring home top results, are at home being victimized by the government and the Ministry of Education while our fifth formers are suffering. But hey, the students and their parents are still quiet. And that's the point. Hey, Miranda, the students and parents are still quiet. Students and parents in these schools who don't have a teacher supposed to be on the protest line. You're supposed to be standing up in front of the Ministry of Education, in front of Curtis' office door every single day. Kurt is supposed to be afraid to go to work because he don't want to face the people inside the ministry yard. Y'all are supposed to be in there every day until they get a teacher. So, anyways, I made that post and somebody posted it and someone else commented to say, oh, high school and grammar school suffering too. And why people think that high school and grammar school don't have poor people children. And I saw the thing and I wanted to say, but what the jail is this? This is why we need an education revolution and comprehension. Comprehension is a very big issue in this school place. A reading comprehension is a big issue. Now, nowhere in my post did I say that high school and grammar school don't have pulpit children. Nowhere in my post did I say that. Nowhere in my post did I mention high school or grammar school. I have taught at both high school and grammar school. So I know the children who go there. And I know for a fact that the majority of children who go to the schools that are on that list are poor people children. That's the majority. So when I put a post and I say, look at the schools, the majority of poor people children, it's because the majority of poor people children. I've taught at both high school and grammar school. So nobody needs to tell me what happens at high school and grammar school. I know for a fact that when this is the ministries placing people, when they're placing teachers, priority goes to high school and grammar school. That's why the Minister of Finance, Camilla Gonsalves, could stand in Parliament and say that government gives the majority of resources to town schools. And children in the country schools and parents in the country schools did not respond. Did not respond. The teachers who, for instance, would have taught at rural schools went away, gained their bachelors or whatever the case is, came back, and instead of being sent back to their schools where there was a void, they were sent to high school or grammar school, especially high school. And if it meant, let's say, for instance, you came back with let's say you came back with a degree in making roti, and there was somebody at high school making roti without a degree, that person would be sent to another school, and you with your degree making roti would be sent there. That's how it works. So nobody should come online to try to tell me what happens at high school or grammar school, because I've taught at both schools. I've taught at both schools. Okay? So sit down, shut your mouth, and try to learn something. Plain and simple. Now, I will say this too. Those two schools would not be without teachers in specific areas as long as other schools. You think high school or grammar school will be without an English teacher in March? Look, before the ink on the letter I got from Service Commission was even dried, grammar school had a replacement English teacher. Before the ink could even dry on my letter from Service Commissions, grammar school had a replacement English teacher. That's how fast things work when it comes to those two schools. And it is what the system is. So those schools there that are suffering because of a lack of a teacher, I don't understand why the parents are still silent. Aren't your students, your children, writing exams in a few months from now? If your children are writing exams in a few months from now, how could you be sitting back and allowing the Ministry of Education to not employ a teacher, to not recall teachers? And then now you're hearing that some of the teachers that the ministry has hired for the 1 month and the 2 months and how much of a month's contract don't know what they're doing, but they get in on these special conditions and feel they run the schools, and children are suffering. Children are suffering because according to Ministry of Education, if their teachers don't get vaccinated, they can't go back to the classroom. But around the world, nations are pulling back their COVID restrictions. The UK that promised hot to make vaccines mandatory for all healthcare workers pull back. And you know the thing about that, since last year, here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, people, you see them commenting all over on the threads. Oh, vaccine mandatory all over. And we kept saying no. And they kept talking about the UK. I said no. Because I know nurses who left St. Vincent unvaccinated and were working in the UK. But yet they were trying to scare nurses into thinking that if they weren't vaccinated, they couldn't get a job in the UK. That was not the truth. And it is still not the truth. Now, the closest that it could have got to any sort of sensible argument was that Boris was planning to do it. And then you say, well, okay, well, fine. It might not be that way forever. And I remember saying to one person who goes by the name of Guevara that I don't think it would happen. I did not think it would happen. And sure enough, they have pulled back. So all over the world, restrictions are slackening and they are pulling back on different things. But here in St. Vincent, we're going full speed ahead. And the Ministry of Education, nobody down there, not the PS Burke, not the minister, not the two who fighting up for chief. I hate they don't give one of them, but they don't want to get shit yet. None of them could stand up for the students of this nation and say to the senile prime minister, stop your BS. Get the teachers back in the classroom and let's get our students prepared. Let's get them prepared for CSEC and for CPA and whatever else. Not one of them in the Ministry of Education has enough guts to stand up to the man of all guts to say, stop. But yet this is the same people who go to church every Sunday morning. And I figure when I see them walking, God just be like, shh, and just walk out. None of them could stand up to defend this children in this country here. None. So here our children are suffering. Suffering. Because you have a senile prime minister who wants to collect whatever money he could collect on vaccine numbers. And the sad thing about it, the saddest part of it is that parents aren't standing up for their children. But all they want to run me down because me put my child priority, my child will be priority. Every day, 24/7. Every single day, my child is going to be priority. And the labor laws, the international labor laws, if you're the primary caregiver of your child, yeah, that's legal for you to put your child as priority. It's legal. Don't fight up with that. And that's the whole thing, Ricardo. Ralph's still trying to fight up with numbers. The rest of the world on pulling back. Look, Israel saying, vaccinated or not, come true. Bible just put out something there. There's nothing on it talking about vaccination. So it's you can question it, whether they still focus on that. Obviously, they're not focused on it because it's not on their release. So what's going on in St. Vincent and Grenadines? What's going on? Are we going to continue to let our students in school suffer? Are we going to continue to let that happen? Parents, you have to stand up for your children. Children, you have to stand up for yourselves. In Antigua and Barbuda, when they wanted to start vaccinating the students, you know what happened? Students and parents hit the street, and so they had to pull that back. Students and parents hit the street, and they had to pull it back. One parent who, at the time when she was being interviewed, said plainly, "Look, I took the vaccine because I wanted to keep my job and to be able to take care of my children. But now you're coming for my children? Back up, back up." Students and parents hit the street along with other people. And so they had to pull back the mandatory vaccination for students. Now, here's the thing. When a teacher is vaccinated, right? Does that prevent students from contracting the coronavirus? No. Does it prevent the teacher from getting the coronavirus? No. Does it prevent the teacher from passing the virus to students and to others? No. Does it prevent the teacher from being hospitalized if they become infected? No. Does it prevent the teacher from dying because of whatever complications related to the coronavirus? No. No, no, no. No. To every one of those questions, no. But yet, you're going to stand out here and deny students a quality education because you want to prove to Chris on Hot 97 that you weren't bluffing. This is the level that your prime minister has dropped to. This is a man who once upon a time I thought was such a brilliant politician. But he's senile now because he's making policies based on what a radio DJ says and how that made him feel. So Chris is there on the radio and Chris is talking about the whole thing, and Chris is saying, "Oh, I think the man bluffing, whatever." So because Chris says, "I think he's bluffing," you decide to fire teachers. But I keep saying to the people here in this country, they need to deal with you, Ralph, just like how you deal with them. Cold like dog nose. Cold. When you are dealing with civil servants here or anybody else here, you show no sort of love. None. And so when Vincent is not dealing with you, they're supposed to do that too. They're supposed to dash love and everything else out the door and deal with you cold, like how you deal with us cold. No feelings, no good feelings in it. No sympathy, no empathy. And that's how I would deal with you. I will deal with you cold. You deal with me cold, I deal with you cold. Plain and simple. And everybody has to take that stand as a citizen of this country. Everybody's supposed to wake up and say, "Look, Ralph, you're dealing with me cold, I am dealing with you cold." And it's done. And you see how fast we get a change of government and get people back. You think people here in this country could last until 2025? Mortgages, children to send to school, health bills to pay. We have to have fresh elections in this country this year. And Vincentians, you must not stop demanding it. You must not stop demanding fresh elections. We have to get fresh elections this year and get rid of these crooks. And we have to deal with the people at the voting stations because they cheat, downright cheat. The ULP has a machinery in place now that no matter what, figures are going to come up in their favor, even if it is one vote. Even if they have to vote over and vote over and vote over and count over and count over and count over, and it comes down to one vote, that's the system that the ULP has in place. And so, yeah, again, you have to deal with them. They must not be allowed to get away with these things. They must not be allowed to thief another elections in this country. You see, bureaucracy and this party here, you can't deal with the ULP and bureaucracy. You have to deal with the ULP on the streets. That's why you have to deal with these people on the streets. It has to be street justice all day, because you can't depend on paperwork. Look what happened down with the quarry. You think that quarry they could be stopped with paperwork when you hear Julian telling people things above their paycheck and all them kind of foolishness? That can't be stopped with paperwork, because it's Ralph and Julian and them who's signing off on the paperwork, and they have to look out for their investment. They have to look out for their investment, for their returns. So yeah, when you get a quarry, they stop with no paperwork. People have to hit the streets and close down the quarry. Not Leeward, people have to hit the streets and close down that quarry. That's how that quarry they have to be shut down. Now look today, and all this time, because here what happened today now. A pipeline burst down Leeward. Now remember, lying Julian Francis sat down in a press conference to deceive the Vincentian people into thinking that an environmental impact assessment done by Dr. Reynald Murray, I think his first name is Reynald, but done by Dr. Murray back in 2007, 2008, was applicable or was for the quarry that is being done now. And Julian had the heart. How Julian so loyal and deceiving. Julian had the heart to hold up the man report, and had the heart to call the man name. That is how lion nasty Julian Francis is. Julian Francis had the heart to hold up Dr. Murray's report, to say, look the study here for the project. Look the study here for the project. Had the heart to hold up the man project, and not just to hold up the man project and lying Julian Francis to sit down and call the man name in he like. You know what kind of lie that is? You know what kind of lie that is? Could you imagine you walking into work a morning, and your co-worker is having a conversation with your boss. Your co-worker, let's say that spill some coffee, okay? Your co-worker spills some coffee, mash up a computer. You walk in, and you're standing there hearing your co-worker say, well, let's say your name is Patricia. Well, it's Patricia who spilled the coffee yesterday and destroyed the computer, And you're watching your co-worker, and your co-worker watching you and telling the boss that you're the one who threw the thing. That was Julian in the press conference. Julian is there in this press conference, showing the man's document, calling the man's name, and giving people the impression that that AIA was for Reynolds quarry. Patricia would call a name. That AIA was for Reynolds. For Reynolds quarry. Bureaucracy ain't going to stop that quarry day. People have to decide to shut it down. People of St. Vincent and Grenadines, not just North Leeward, because it's going to affect us all. And last program I said to you that at some point, Vinlec's operational cost would increase, and CWS's operational cost would increase, because with that quarry up there, it is going to be interfering with our waterways. I said it. And I said when Vinlec's operation cost increases and when CWS's operation cost increases, it's going to come on us. Not just the people of North Leeward will receive higher water bills. The entire state of St. Vincent and the Grenadines would be receiving higher water bills. Well, those are in Grenadines who get in bill from CWS. Everybody will be receiving a higher water bills. So that that happening out there in North Leeward. It's not just a North Leeward issue, it's all of us. But here we're coming now. Here we're getting at now with the whole education and the quarry and the water. A pipe burst of like today. And the girl who is doing the recording is there saying it's a Vinlek pipeline. Right? Remember I telling you for the longest while that when you see them going up in the mountain to interfere with the water, Vinlek's operation cost is going to change. Water authority operation cost is going to change. Now here the issue. Tanti say that the pipeline is Vinlek pipeline. And if you read the comments, you will understand why I see the people at the Ministry of Education ain't know what they're doing. And they don't care to find out how to do what they should do. Because people start commenting on the thing now and laughing at the girl because the girl says Vinlek pipeline. People started to laugh at the girl because the girl said it's Vinlek pipeline. Could you imagine in 2022 that Vincentians are going to one, go and fish and farm in a quarry, and two, they don't know that Vinlek has pipelines. 2022 St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And these are the people who go to election polls to vote. These are the people who go to election polls to vote. Scary, isn't it? Out here throwing fishing line in quarries, stone quarries, and out here trying to farm in stone quarries, and out here not knowing that we have something in St. Vincent called hydropower. That Vinlek has pipelines. So they're cussing the poor girl stink because the girl says Vinlek pipeline. Hey Ming Ming, you late, man. Cussing the girl because the girl says Vinlek pipeline. Cussing the girl. Hey now, you says Carlos, Mrs. Julian. Cussing the girl. But I've taken it all back to the failure of our education system. I take it back to the failure in the education system because Vincentians generally do not know a lot about St. Vincent. They generally do not know a lot about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In primary school, for instance, they do this thing. They call it what? A spiral curriculum, which is a waste of time. Because when you sit down, for instance, in online class and you hear your child say to their teacher, oh, but we did this in another grade. And another student say, yes, miss, we did this in grade X, Y, and Z. Because even the children are now beginning to understand, but this is rubbish. Why every time I go to another grade, I'm being taught the same thing. No value added, nothing new, the same things. But if we were to change our curriculum, and I've done numerous lives on what I think our curriculum should be, but I would say this tonight. We need to change this government so that we could get innovation in education, so that Vincentians could understand how they get electricity in their homes. We need to change this government so that Vincentians could understand how they get water in their homes. I am sure if you ask the average person in St. Vincent and Grenadines, average student, let's say the average student, to name 2 water catchment, they won't be able to do it. They won't be able to name 2. If you were to ask them for the location of 2, they won't be able to give you the location either. Neither name nor locate. We still have people who think that that white looking water that comes through the pipeline is because CWC put too much chlorine in the water. We still have people who think that that whitish, frothy looking water that comes out of the pipe sometimes is because CWC put too much chlorine in the water. They don't understand that somewhere along the pipeline, air got into the water, perhaps because they were fixing the pipeline or replacing something or whatever. So air got into the pipeline, and that is why the pipe water is coming out looking like that. It is not chlorine. But that's the state of our education system. We spend so much time, it's raining now, eh? We spend so much time forcing information down these children's throats from a very early age that they don't really need, that we forget, hey Andrea, we forget to give them valuable lessons that they could use. So, here what? Instead of forcing kindergartners to be writing ridiculous notes and cramming notes, why don't we teach them how to research? So you're doing triangles today in school, let them go home to find some triangles by themselves. No help from mommy, no help from daddy. Let them go home to find some triangles. Let them go home to find some squares. Let them go home to find some circles and come back the next day and have show and tell with their objects. And that's another thing too. I don't understand how in primary school, one topic takes 1 week. One topic in primary school is done in a week. I don't know how they get that done. I don't know. Let's take these young minds of grade K and grade 1 who soak up languages. Let's get some Spanish down there for them. Let's get some sign language down there for them. Let's get some Mandarin Chinese down there for them. Let's start introducing them to coding. Because at those ages, they soak it up. They soak it up. After 7, it is less likely, or I shouldn't say less likely, it is more difficult for the human brain to learn other languages. You see, between birth and 7, them children soak up any language that you give them. So why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? No, we want to start to teach them 3 times tables and 4 times tables. We want to force them to do this test and that test. Teach them about their homes and how their homes work. Teach them about how water comes into their pipelines, where it comes from, and make it fun, make it interactive. Not no notes to drill. So that you don't have people laughing when somebody says one of Vinlec's pipeline burst. Our education system, first of all, needs to be homegrown. We have Saboto and Gomri in Belize. So now we're hearing that the drinking water in Big Gut in Liu not tasting the same. They won't taste the same. Once that quarry continues, the quality of drinking water, the quality of the water down there is going to be different. There will be a lot of sediments in the water first off. And once you have a lot of sediments in the water, Vinlec and CWC would run into problems. And the fact is too, they're changing the water courses and all of that. You're gonna have movements with the dynamite and so forth, all the explosives. So you're gonna find issues with pipelines. Some might burst, some might bend, whatever the case is. And again, if you do an environmental impact assessment, these are the things that you get to find out. You get to find out how that project would affect Vinlec, how that project would affect CWC, because Once you deal with water, you're going to affect VINLEC and CWSA. Wait, so you mean last week, sorry, when I was talking about VINLEC and water, people must be laughing at me too. Jeez. People are probably laughing at me too. How water going to affect VINLEC? Poor us in this country. Poor us. So yes, back to the whole situation with the Gomery and Saboto. So Gomery and Saboto now in Belize, pretending to be most Garifuna, eh? Most Garifuna. Till they get picture put up by ex-rapper, now politician Shine. He bigging him up. He's so glad to have them there. And I'm like, them too. Now, ask about and Gomery, what happened to the houses that were donated for the people over the river? They get them yet? No. Ask Gomery and Saboto, the big Garifunas jumping up and down in Belize. Why is it that money was donated to rebuild for people? Money was donated to change house roofs, but yet people getting one sheet of galvanized. Because if they come to your house and they realize, oh, in this piece of corner over here we get damaged, they only give you the piece of galvanized to replace that. But the next couple of years, your whole house roof will be needing replacement. But again, the people over the river not say nothing. They're quiet. They're suffering in silence. Saboto and Gomery in Belize dancing, to some kind of traditional dance, or whatever the case is. When I was at API, Agency for Public Information, Aloma Williams Gilbert and I went out to Sandy Bay and we did a short documentary on the quadrille dance. There was a group out there called the Sandy Bay Quadrille Dancers. Mr. I think his name is Leonard Nero. He used to play the quadrille and provide them with music. He's deceased. That was it. If we did not do that documentary, there would be nothing now to show to people. Nothing. But yet, big Garifuna, Saboto. Oh yes, Dennis is asking if primary school teachers still be asked. I know primary school teachers who are asked to do daily lesson plans for every subject that they teach. Daily. For every subject. So tonight, primary school teachers are home right now, writing up lesson plans upon lesson plans upon lesson plans. So yeah, so Mr. Saboto and Mr. Gomery in Belize played them a do traditional dance. Ask them what they've done to preserve the traditional dances here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ask them what they've done to preserve Garifuna culture here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Let me show you a little something of what I'm talking about. And when you finish, you could probably go and look at it. Let me share the screen with you. Which one of them is it? This one. Share screen. That's the documentary that we did years ago. Years ago. It's on Aloma's page. Just look for Aloma Williams Gilbert. It's a public thing. And here it is. Yes, his name was Leon Nero. Let me give you a little taste.
Tell me what you know.
That's him there.
Of the cobbled sidewalks and the petrol clears. This ride will give you more than a glimpse. Come, 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 come. Now take a ride. A heritage The quadrille is a dance mainly performed by a Carib population and claimed to be indigenous to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The quadrille has a history as long and intricate as the dance itself. For more research, the quadrille was first introduced in the royal courts of France around in 1760. However, it is believed that it was derived from another dance, the cotillion, which originated in the West Indies in the early 1700s. The name quadrille was originally a four-person card game and came from the Latin term quadriglia that referred to a troop of horsemen who formed the square when participating in a tournament. It was danced by two couples originally, but the number increased over time. The dancers arranged themselves in a square, with each couple facing the center of the square. One pair, referred to as the head couple, started the dance while the side couples followed. The
Ask
quadrille was
comprehensible to
danced
what
in
they're doing
several
to
sections called
preserve these
figures.
things. But
In
they
some
didn't
regions, the
believe
figures were given names
carrying on
similar
like
to
them is
ballet
most
terms.
Garifuna.
In other regions, the figure was simply referred to as a first figure, second figure, third figure, and so on. From France, the quadrille was taken to England by British soldiers just after the Napoleonic Wars. From there, a Lady Jersey introduced it to the English upper class. The quadrille therefore developed into two distinct styles, one danced by the peasants and the other by the nobles. Some of these nobles were plantation owners in the Caribbean and brought the quadrille to their plantations. Here they performed the dance at events such as balls, weddings, and banquets. However, each plantation just had a few Europeans, and it was here that the house slaves were taught the quadrille so that the slaves aimed at solidarity and a more free expression in their movements. In the Caribbean, the quadrille spread throughout the islands. In each island, something new and different was added. Here in
I
St.
wonder if these
Vincent
people
and the
recognize
Grenadines, the quadrille
themselves.
seemed to have disappeared at some point, but then had a strange revival. According to one of the oldest remaining quadrille dancers, Leah Miro, Juan Matilda Batiste, also known as Tanty Sugar, had a special encounter.
The father sent she to Georgetown because we usually, well, the whole time people used to walk around and me to Georgetown and buy things. And when she reached at Overland, she said she don't know, but she see a crowd of people, just walking and dancing and doing the same thing, and she got out of she sense. And she stand up now, she can't go no further, and watching them from morning until evening. Yeah. Quadrille is a long thing. Quadrille have 24 bar. You have to dance everyone. But since we come to play, we cut it down. We make it 10. So you dance it.
How many of you knew about that? How many of you could honestly sit on here tonight and say you knew that there was a group in Sandy Bay called the Quadrille Dancers and that this whole thing used to happen? How many of you could say that? If all they said that's all a lie. All I saw it come from all day. But yeah, Dennis is asking how come some of the things I'm talking about aren't being taught. They can't be taught if they're not on the curriculum. Well, they could be taught, but teachers tend to stick with what is on the curriculum. So if it's not on the curriculum, it won't be taught. What we need to do is to change the curriculum, change the people at the Ministry of Education because they are clogging up the system. They have no vision. They don't want to see anything changed. And they're just stifling teachers and stifling students. But these are the people who we have making decisions in this country here. People with no vision, none whatsoever. Now, Kate dance. I said it before, the Kate dance is still in the Grenadines. It is not being taught in our schools. Why isn't it being taught in our schools? Why don't our students know about the Kate dance? Why don't our students know about the quadrille? Why don't our students know that Vinlek has pipelines and that they can't one fish in a quarry? 2022. And we are at this backward state. But yet what Ralph and the others do And Julian, I must say Julian used the word. He said semantics. All the ULP has been doing for years is using semantics against the Vincentian people. So they come out and they say, oh, we have an education revolution. And automatically in your mind, you think that something great has happened in education. But how could something great have happened in education when you're producing people who don't know that Vinlec has pipelines, that Vinlec uses hydropower? How could you say education revolution when we're still giving out the majority scholarships to those students who excel in academia? How could you talk about education revolution when you have primary school students coming first in athletics for the nation, but they don't get any scholarships to go to secondary school because maybe they didn't come high enough in common entrance or CPA, but yet they're due the victrix and whatever at primary school athletics, but they don't get any scholarships to go to secondary school. They don't. We only see them next if they get into a secondary school and they start excelling there too. So how could you tell me about the education revolution? How could you talk about a revolution in health when the hospital does not have basic needs? When if somebody gets the bends, you have to fly them out. But you're talking about health revolution. Health revolution, but we can't treat burn victims. You're talking about health revolution, but simple things are killing Vincentians. But you're talking about a health revolution because guess what? In the mind of the majority out here, revolution means something grand. So they would walk around and ask the poorest of the poor here, ask the most illiterate here, and they will tell you these things. They will tell you that we've had a health revolution and we've had an education revolution. And when you ask them to show you what that means, they can't. They can't. So you want them to, you ask them, so show me the revolution in the education system. What has changed? No MRI in 2022. Dengue killing Vincentians. Fleas infesting schools. Look, high school had to go home again because guess what? At the Tarmac Academy, the toilets and them blocking up, back up or some nonsense. You build a school below sea level. You build a school in a flood-prone area. You build a school where it should not have been built in the first place and claiming that it was built for millions of dollars too, eh? Now the trend them going home with fleas, toilets backing up, all sorts of madness. But guess what? Is the curses in the education system? Is the hypocrites in the education system who call themselves Christians, who out here putting teachers on the bread line? Why I see all these curses on the schools? Is the demons. We need to rid ourselves of these demons from Ralph come right down. Until we do that, we're going to have all kind of plagues in this nation here. Look out for Chigga next. Look out for Tarmac Academy trying to go home with Chigga. They'll be sitting down at home with their foot in the baby sister bathtub, in coals, kerosene, and what's this use? Wherever. With the parents digging Chigga out to the foot. Watch and see. And after Chigga, they will get lice. If they may get lice already. Who knows? But plenty plagues to come on this place because of the nastiness that we have here in government. Because of the nastiness that we have in government and because of the nastiness that we put up with, plenty plagues to come on this nation here. All you need to get rid of them and let us start over. Let us rebuild this country and let's build it proper. Forget about these nonsense. Let them stop filling up your head with semantics. So they build a little track and then they call it a stadium. And you run around telling people, oh, we have a stadium in Diamond. And people watching you and laugh. Because it's not even a proper track to begin with. People watching you and laugh. The minister come talk about, oh, it is certified by the Olympic Committee, whichever committee he said. But go on the people on them side and no certification for St. Vincent and Grenadines. Lie again. Lie, lie, lie. He built 2 little huts in Glen. And then he said put in a bathroom facilities. The bathroom facilities I'm just going must be last month or so. I mean sure they finish. But build 2 little hut in Glen and see how he built shopping center. And y'all running around. Oh, we have shopping center in Glen. 2 little hut the man built. But you're talking about shopping center. Like you never see shopping center on TV. You never see shopping center on TV. So Camilla could say he has shopping center in Glen. And you walk around like a jack fool. Oh, we have shopping center. It is not a shopping center. It's 2 shop the man built in Glen. And afraid to give them out. Because guess what? He lose votes in Glen. And he promised too much people in Glen thing. You know who got most prime grants in St. Vincent? Glen. From the last publication, Glen. And he still lost in Glen. Big up to the Glen people. Big up to my Glen people, whole firm. Whole firm. Returning East St. George to the hands of the New Democratic Party. Next elections this year. Whether they want to bring elections or not, we the people would bring it. We will bring it because our livelihoods, our families, and our homes at risk here. Camilla and them ain't had nothing to worry about. They ain't had nothing to worry about. And with Ralph Otis sending private letter to Putin, we don't know what Ralph is asking for. We don't know if it is Ralph is just trying to secure his offshore accounts and interest in Russia. So frightening, he must be frightening, but he writing Putin letter and then releasing some kind of nonsense to say that's what he sent to Putin. If all the fall for that, I knocked every single one of you on all your heads. Any one of you fall for that to say that is the letter that Ralph write to Putin and knock every one of you on the head, on all the head. We don't want to see the letter. Because he would never show the letter that he wrote to Putin. He would never show it. And so we could assume what's in there. Because you can't tell me. You send a letter to Putin on our letterhead, signing your name as Prime Minister, and then telling us we can't know what you said. Knowing that you're fully senile. Knowing you senile, who could trust you? And that he does lie. You yourself say he does lie. And I know you does lie. But Ralph, I am still trying to figure out how I stopped you from entering Parliament. Because come Friday, I have to go to court. I have to go to court to listen to Buju as he explains how I stopped you from going into Parliament. But I want you to explain how I stopped you from going into Parliament. This is going to be epic. EPIC. This is going to be epic. Because I don't know how in your, well, I know how in your brain you come this. You have to be senile. Honest senile Prime Minister could have this matter before court. Only a senile man could have such a matter before the court. Ashika, more than comedy country. Ralph is totally senile. Ralph is senile, and Colin John, the Commissioner of Police, and Trevor Bailey, aka Bujo, are two lying, babbling buffoons, being controlled by a senile Prime Minister. Also, the DPP. She is just a buffoon like the rest of them, because I don't. How, explain to me? I want anybody in this life to explain to me, how is it I have to go to court on Friday? Why is it I have to go to court on Friday? Why am I home on half pay? Unable to teach? Because Ralph Gonsalves, Colin John, Trevor Bailey claim that I did, I stopped Ralph from going into Parliament. Explain that to me. Anyone of you could explain that to me tonight? I tell Ken to bake all the banana bread. And I will give you all cinnamon rolls. My best cinnamon rolls, chocolate and cranberry cinnamon rolls. Explain to me how I stopped Ralph from entering Parliament. I'm waiting for an explanation. Any one of you could help me come up with that answer. I have to go to court to answer that on Friday. And all you want to tell me Ralph is not senile? All you want to tell me Ralph is not senile? And Colin is not an idiot? And the DPP same speed? Because how did she approve that? This is the same DPP's office, not the same DPP, but this is the same DPP's office that said that Michelle Andrews did not have any case that she could have bring in relation to Ralph raping her. But apparently, the state has a case that they could bring against me for stopping Ralph from entering Parliament. When did I stop Ralph from entering Parliament? According to Bujo and them, August 5th. That's the day when they scraped Ralph on his head. Apparently, I stopped him from going into Parliament. Me show me see Ralph go in Parliament. Go back to all the videos, you see Ralph walking into Parliament with over 100 police officers around him. And look at every single video, zoom in on every single person, and you will never see me. You will never see me because I was nowhere near the idiot. I was nowhere near the idiot. Not the big idiot, the middle-sized idiot, or the small idiot. I was nowhere near any of them. Not at that point. I was near Colin when I was walking from the fire, and Colin was walking towards the fire. And I turned around and I followed him up to the fire. And then I followed him back down to the protest line. At this point, Ralph don't get his head scrape off and must you don't reach Barbados. And them people, they bring a charge against me. And the DPP said, this is sound. This could go to trial. Sajila McDowell read the nonsense that Buju put in his witness statement. Sajila McDowell read the stupid charges brought by the police and figured that that was something that could be taken to court. And that's why I keep saying, all I have to deal with them people here as cold as they deal with us. As cold as they deal with the Vincentian public, that's how you deal with them. That's how you deal with them. And that's why I would say, because I saw somebody accusing me the other day to say, oh, I telling people to do police thing and do police thing. No, please. No, please. Not me. I don't tell anybody to do any police anything. All I say to people is this: when you come out on the protest line or wherever you are and the police assault you, defend yourself. Don't let the police officer assault you. Once you see the police coming at you and they're coming at you illegally and they're infringing on your rights and they're endangering your life, stand up and defend yourself. Don't let the police officer turn into no fool. Let them do their job in a legal way, in a respectful way, and everything will be fine. Don't let the police officer abuse you. Don't let the police officer assault you. Because we don't see, when they say take them to court, nothing happens. Nothing happens. And some people don't live to tell about what police do to them, because guess what? They walk around afraid of police. There's nothing in a police officer to be afraid of. They're flesh just like your flesh. They have bones just like you have bones. They have skin like you have skin, teeth like you have teeth, eyes like you have eyes, nose, ears. Some might not have brain, but those are, yeah, scientific abnormalities. Don't know how they operate, but yeah. Don't let a police officer abuse you. Don't. If a police steps to you and they don't step to you in a decent, respectful way, and they cross the line and assault you, defend yourself. And I will continue to say that. I will continue to say that, because police officers are not supposed to be operating as though they are above the law. They are not the law and they are not above the law. Their duty is to enforce the law. If you're breaking the law, their duty is to enforce it. And they must ensure that they're doing so in a legal way. Because you can't enforce law by breaking law. And that's what's been happening lately with our police force under Colin John. Because as you see, Colin John is an idiot. He himself does not know the laws of the country. And so he sends police out there. And he is no example to young police officers. So when they see he behaving like a jack donkey, they come to civilians and they want to behave like a jack donkey too, because Colin John behaves that way. Don't let them get away with it. Do not let them get away with it, because we're not in a police state. They want to make it out that way. They rather want to have police walking around here like big bad bully about the place. Don't. Like some time ago, I was on a specific road and a police transport was coming down the road illegally. They didn't have no siren. They didn't have on any siren. And it was peak hours. And they were going in the direction they were not supposed to be going in on that road. But guess what? Somebody came out of the vehicle who I like. And I said to him, I says, only because of you, I'm moving here today. Because I was staying right in that road and let every other vehicle behind me come up and block that road. Because they had no right to be on that road at that hour. And if it is that they were going on whatever mission they were going in or going on, if they were going on a mission, they were supposed to not be on that road. It would not make any sense to use that road to go on a mission. Because anyhow you buck up vehicle on that road at that hour, after 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Look, by the time I stopped, there were like 3 vehicles behind me. 3 vehicles came up behind me, a car and I think 2 vans. And there might have been more. Because at that time, you go in this direction. The police were going this way. You're supposed to go this way. Police was going that way. Breaking traffic rules. They're only lucky that officer was inside that vehicle. Because if that officer was not in that vehicle, because the driver, the transport now, telling me I must go back. I'm like, no, dude, no. You're supposed to be on this road here. Not at this hour. Not at this hour. And make it worse, there was a part right by his vehicle that people pull aside. And I'm telling him, pull aside, and Mr. Man decide he not moves me, decide me not move neither. You know I move, me not move. I know I had the right to run the road. But when my little darling came out now, I was like, shucks. Shucks. I gotta be nice now. I have to be nice now. Lucky that driver, the lucky. And my point is this. When police doing things, I'm supposed to do things legally. You're supposed to do things legally. So don't let a policeman rush you. Don't let a policeman rush you. I know of another person got their license taken away because a police officer stopped them without even identifying himself and telling them to turn down the glass and so forth. And this was like after 6 minutes to 7 in the night. Me say, oh man, because as far as I'm concerned, you're not in uniform, you're not holding up anything to identify you as police, and you come in front of my vehicle, stop me, I will run you over. I will run you over. I have a friend who told me years ago when I started driving, he said, hey, now, Adriana, when they see you on the road, wherever or in the night, don't stop for anybody. And don't fall into any trick where you see people come in the road for you to stop so that somebody could come from the sides to ambush you. So you claim you're supposed to be a police officer. You stand up in front of my vehicle. I don't know you as a police officer. You're not holding up anything to say that you're a police officer. You think me going to stop? I run in your tail over. I run in your tail over because I don't know who you are. I am running you over. But then this young lady decided to stop. And I'm like, why would you stop? You don't know the person. You don't know what their intention was. Why would you stop? And then to make matters worse, the person now comes to her vehicle window and tells her to turn down the window because they are police officers, and she turns down the window. Well, here, you wasn't getting me to turn on the window because first of all, I was running you over. I was going to run you clean over. So we ain't reaching to no stage of me turning on the window and I don't know who you are. You can't identify yourself. Me driving the night and turn on the window for you, no, darling. No, boo-boo. You'll catch me the next day. Take down my vehicle number. When they get back to the office, call me. Or send police to look for me wherever. I don't know. But me ain't stopping for no man day or night. And especially night. So you step in front of my vehicle, I'm going to run you over. And these are sort of stupid things that our police officers do. But we allow them to get away with it. We allow them to get away with it. And she ended up getting her license suspended because of some nonsense that he said. Another he said, she said thing. And that's another story again. Because we're seeing over and over where apparently the police could do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say, and they would be believed. And with that, I am going to end. I was looking for Kenson. I ain't see Kenson up to now. And I will see you all next week. And don't forget, I'll do a little live tomorrow from the protest line. And I will show you my placard. And me, we'll stand up there. Because this is a country where I could protest as an individual. And so I'll be standing there as Adriana King, protesting, calling for justice for my past student, CJ. Because what happened to CJ could happen to anybody else. And we must not tolerate it. We must not tolerate it. Those police officers should be home on suspension until the investigation is completed. But yet, that's not happening. They're at work. The vehicle that they used to kill CJ has been repaired. They're now refusing to hand over CJ's bike to his parents pretending that they're holding it for an investigation. You can't hold the bike for investigation when you don't fix a police vehicle. You can't do that. Parents were denied an independent autopsy. You look at CJ's skin and you could see the burn marks on his skin. And, as painful as it is to say, I told a friend of mine, the only good thing about this is that, he was paralyzed. So he did not feel the pain that he should have felt with those injuries that he received. And I don't even know if good is the right word, but that's the only thing. Oh, Dan, those t-shirts are not for sale. Those t-shirts were brought down by a cousin of his, and they were done for the funeral. So I got that one, but they're not for sale. And I got me some cream cheese, so you'll be getting your batch perhaps on the weekend. Perhaps I'll bring them down for you on Sunday. But yes, people, so until next week Wednesday, be good, take care of yourself, be kind to you, because a lot of people out here might not be. Be kind to your loved ones, and just remind them of how much you do. Look out for your children. Teach them how to defend themselves. Teach them how to stand up for themselves. Respect all, but fear none. Let me say that again. Respect all, fear none. So, good night and see you next week.